Man, I wish we had smell-o-vision. This smells great. Hello everyone, my name is Richard Chang. I'm the chef from Put Me in Coach and Wolfie's. Today I'll be making our butter shallot rice with Miyoko's vegan butter. First, we're going to be making our chili garlic oil. We'll be using a neutral oil. I like to use canola or grapeseed oil. Bring the oil up to about 275 degrees and you pour the oil over the chilies. We're using crushed chili peppers you can find in most markets, and the Korean chili flake, which is called gochugaru. It is a specialty item you have to look for in a Korean market. Also, most Asian markets these days have it. Then our granulated garlic, granulated onion, and sugar. We'll be adding not all of the sesame seeds, just about 2 tablespoons. Now we're ready to pour the oil over the chili. So be careful with this step. It does tend to bubble. Just let it rest. When you hear that sizzling, that magic you hear, and it starts giving you that aromatics of the chilies and the garlic, you know that it's almost there. As soon as it settles down, we can season it. My mom was very good at cooking, so I learned everything from her. There was always complexity and layers in her cooking that I did not know she was doing until I started cooking myself on a more professional level. She's with me all the time. We're gonna add the seasoning to it now. As soon as the sizzling stops is when we add about 2 tablespoons of butter. Do you see the bubbling in there? And the reason why we add butter to this sauce, it rounds out the flavors and elevates it to another level. Everyone's gonna ask you what's in this that makes it so good. You can keep it a secret, or you can tell everybody it's Miyoko's butter. So when the sizzling stops, just give it a stir. Make sure you get everything off the bottom and incorporate the oil evenly throughout. So we're gonna set it aside for now, and we're gonna get started with the sauteed kimchi. So now we're getting ready to saute the kimchi. So for this dish, you need a medium heat to get the butter melted. So we're gonna use about 4 to 6 tablespoons of Miyoko's butter. Now we can turn up the heat a little bit as long as it's not browning. Now we're going to add the kimchi. The butter is getting a little bit more bubbly, it's getting louder. That's the best time to add the kimchi. Okay, just spread it out and just add a little bit of oil, any oil that you like, something neutral. The oil helps with the sauteing. It transfers the heat from the bottom of the pan to the actual product a lot better. It also adds a little bit of balance as well. So we're gonna saute this until the kimchi is a little tender. The kimchi, as you saute it and you cook it, becomes a little bit more tender, and it's supposed to be served warm. And that is the reason why my mom would make it for us on cold days in the fall and winter. That looks done, guys. I'm excited. What we're gonna do, turn off the heat, put it in our bowl. Just top it off with a little bit of sesame. Okay, now that we're done with sauteing the kimchi, we're gonna set it to the side and get started on our vegan egg. We'll be using Miyoko's vegan butter and start off cold. Put some in our pan, get it melted, and then we'll be adding our mung bean based egg. For egg, you wanna use a medium low heat, and we'll be adding about 4 tablespoons of butter. As we did before, we're gonna break up the butter so it melts faster. This butter, can't even tell that it's vegan. It has the properties and the performance of any of great butters that I've worked with in the past, and also has great aroma and great flavor. Now we're ready for our egg. So we're gonna stir in our egg a little bit at a time as we stir in the pot as well. Keeping the heat low, and as we stir, we're incorporating and we're bringing in the egg and the butter together. You want it to begin to curdle, keeping a consistent low heat. I'm actually pretty impressed on how well it's coming out and how the butter has incorporated into the egg. We don't want to overcook the eggs. We want to keep it nice and fluffy. Just add a little bit of salt for the seasoning here, and let's give it a little taste. That is delicious. Very well balanced. So let's pour this out onto our plate. Look at that, guys. Now that we're done with our egg, we're going to start with our butter shallot rice. Get a small pan, and you want low medium heat because we're just gonna sweat the shallots. We want the butter to become aromatic and the flavor to come through without any caramelization. So we're gonna add about half of this block, and it should start melting. Now we're gonna just turn this down a little bit. Wanna have a low heat. Okay, now we're gonna add our shallots. And we're gonna cook this until it's semi-translucent. The butter is melted and it's actually creating a sauce now with the shallots. You can smell both the shallots and the nuttiness from the butter. Now we're not trying to brown anything. Control the heat. I'm actually thinking I'm gonna add a little bit more butter just to have more sauce for our rice. Okay, now let's add a little bit of sea salt. So now that we're done with our butter shallot sauce, it's time to add it to our rice. Being health conscious, we have made purple rice, which is a mixture of medium grain rice and black rice. For every 4 cups, use about 2 tablespoons of the black rice. The reason why we use this in Korea, it's a healthier option and aesthetically pleasing. We're gonna grab a few scoops of rice and always scrape the top of the rice. You don't wanna dig into the rice. It keeps the rest of the rice fresh. And what we're gonna do next, we're gonna add our shallot butter. We're gonna mix it all together, mix it well. We're gonna need a little bit of salt in here. That is good. Now, let's plate our rice. You're gonna notice the rice doesn't stick as much. It's a little looser, and that's because of the butter. So if you want, you can pack it just a little bit, make it flat, the other ingredients that's going on top. Now, time to season the rice. Grab some chili garlic oil and just drizzle that on top. Depending on what your spice tolerance is, you might want to go a little heavier or lighter. Now we're going to grab a little bit of our teriyaki sauce. Doesn't have to be too much. You don't want to overpower. And remember, we always want to try to keep balance in our flavors. Now we're going to put the egg on top. We're going to add a second layer of sauce right here. Let's put it on top of the egg. And then we're going to add a little bit more of the homemade teriyaki sauce. Now we're going to add our avocado. Cut crisscrosses like that, about a 1/4 inch thick. And use a spoon to spoon out your avocado. I like to use a lot of avocado. And now for the toppings. We have our radishes, sliced thinly. And when you slice radishes, make sure you keep them in water. It doesn't matter how many you use. If you love radishes, use a lot. Even the tails, don't let those go. Just looks nice when you put them in there. And then we're gonna add a little bit of our green onion. And now we're gonna add our furikake with rice cracker. This can be bought at any Asian market. And if the Asian market has a Japanese section, you'll find it there. If not, always find it online. Now that we finished the dish, it's time to try it. Now when you eat this dish, you wanna dig so you can get all of the elements in one bite. Wow, that is, not because I made it, but the ingredients that went into this, Miyoko's butter, how it just permeates through all the dish with the rice, the chili garlic oil, the egg. I mean, it's just a complete dish, but not a complete bite because didn't get the kimchi. Perfect meal, warms you, it's like a hug from my mom. So thanks, Mom. Thank you guys for watching and joining me today. And thank you, Miyoko, for having me with you.